to the Metal Gods Meltdown, and today I am joined by.
George Lynch from a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. We'll get into that.
Dokken, Lynch, Lynch Mob, loads, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
it
loads.
gets worse and worse as you go down the list.
All right, man. So, Dancing with the Devil is Lynch Mob's final dance. Is it a victory lamp with horns raised or a last tango with unfinished business?
It's neither one. It's a lie. It's
Okay.
not really our last record. That was a mistake. Yeah,
Okay.
freaking record company. God. I told him I was saying something to the lady at the label about I just sold a car and I was going to take one final ride around the block with the car, and she misunderstood me and thought I was talking about the album title. And they went ahead, didn't confer with me, and then once I saw the name of the record, I go, wait a minute, that's why are we calling it the final ride? She goes, that's what you said you wanted. And I'm hard of hearing, so I didn't have my hearing aids in on that conversation. And so they thought I was asking for that to be the title of the record. That's not what I was talking about, taking a lap in my car that I had just sold to somebody. And it's just a lack of communication.
Really? Okay. So, what about the final shows then?
No,
Are they
that's
going to
also the
rubbish as well?
same thing. I'd sold another car for that one. That was a different car.
All right then. So on this album, when it gets released at the end of the month, do you still hold the excitement for a new album hitting the streets?
Well, that didn't sound too exciting, did it? That didn't sound too excited. Listen, every album you do is like the best album you ever did for all of us. I mean, I never do a record and go, oh man, this one sucks. I wish I would have did a better job. You always have high hopes, and you're close to it and your heart's in it, and you listen to it over and over and you're like so proud of it. And then it's like a kid, you have a baby and it's so beautiful and big chubby cheeks and it loves you. And then it grows up and hates your guts. That's what albums are like.
Totally. All right. And so this is not the last album. So we could expect a new album in 2026 or EP or something.
It's one of the last albums.
Right. One of the last albums.
I think you have it confused with the final ride. That's coming up.
Okay. The final ride. All right. So the decision then to have a final bonus track on this album for the European market only somewhere.
Um, yeah, I um, that's not a decision that I make. That's something label makes
Right.
because of deals that they do with different territories. So that label that we work with will sell off territories, so Europe being one and Japan being another, and they'll make separate deals with them, and then they'll come to me and said, well, to make this deal happen, we need an extra song from you. So they have some reason. So European record buyers have a reason to buy the European version of the record over the imported version because it has an extra track that the imported version doesn't have. And so, you know, we have, we provide an extra song for that purpose.
Okay, right. So you totally blown me with the questions I had because I thought this was the final album. I thought this was it. So you blow me with the questions. So the next question, right? The guitars on your wall. Which is your favorite guitar?
Well, these are all the ones I don't like. This is the wall of we call it the wall of shame.
This is the one I can't play behind me.
Well, listen, I'm so rich that when I break a string, I just retire the guitar. I put it on the wall, and then I don't even bother. The strings are expensive, dude. It's hard. You ever tried changing a guitar string?
No.
Listen, I don't work for a living. I just play music. Yeah, you can see that one has a broken string. Ah, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'll
Okay,
buy another.
okay, okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, these all have a purpose.
Yeah,
It's like well, I don't think you can see it over there, but that's a double neck over there with a
right.
12 and a 6. I call that the aardvark.
Right.
Then there's a 12 string here. That there's a Floyd equipped Les Paul, which is something you'll never see for
Uh-huh.
good reason.
Uh-huh.
And then the thing that get used the most up here is that bass. It's a beautiful kind of a P bass clone that ESP made. Use that on all my demos.
Uh-huh.
And then this one here, this LTD Viper, that's a serious beast. That's a baritone guitar with
Cool.
EMGs. I never use EMGs, but on that
Uh-huh.
guitar, it sounds great for some reason. And I use that on most of my records to just kind of add another layer of heaviness under particular parts and heavier songs or something. It does a very, very cool thing. I actually built a whole version of Lynch Mob around that guitar at one point in my life. It was early 2000s.
Wow.
Uh, the Re-Evolution Tour, I think, or something like that it was called, and with Robert Mason. And we did tuned down versions of our songs, and we put out a record with those versions of those songs. And that was the only guitar I played, which was miserable because, yeah, I mean, it was cool because it sounded heavy and cool and everything, but it's like an impossible guitar to solo on because I have it set up with such heavy strings and it's a baritone. So the strings are so long, there's so much tension on them, which is why it sounds cool for rhythm and why it's miserable to play for solos. It's got a wound G, it's got a super heavy gauge set of strings on it, extra long scale, EMG pickups. Like if I were to invent a guitar to be a torture device, that would be it.
Love it.
It's miserable to play for leads, but I did it, and it was interesting. Yeah, people didn't
Cool.
hate it that much. That was nice. You know, people hate it. You know, they hate you. They hate it. And they say all kinds of horrible things to insult you and your family just because you tried some different kind of music. You know,
Yeah.
and, that's happened to me a lot and in my career.
Yeah.
But I did that. It wasn't too far out. It was just a different tuning. Come on, shoot me.
Okay, so you're a guitar legend, especially from the 80s.
Did that answer your question?
You did, mate. You did, yeah. Spot on. Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, okay, so you're a guitar legend, especially as far as the 80s and early 90s were concerned. What do you put your longevity down to? Because you're still going at the grand old age of how old you are now, which I'm not going to say.
71.
I know,
70.
crazy, insane. I hope I look as good and as nimble as you when I'm 70.
Well, I don't know about the nimble part. I mean, uh, my pirouettes have been getting a little sloppy lately. But thank you, and I will attribute the longevity of my career to tenacious work ethic. And I don't say that self-complimentarily. It's just the way I was raised. My father and just that's what we were taught. And I'm proud of that, and I'll never be able to outlive that or unlearn that. And so I feel very fortunate that I have this wonderful job that I love so much that I can make music and actually support my family and provide my family with security and all the things that we need. Um, Doing what I love, which is such a rare gift, to be able to have that. So I try to treat that with respect in the sense that I'm never going to take it for granted, and I never have. And so I always to show respect, I give it the most attention and energy I can to make sure that I do it well, and and in addition to that, what I would say is that I also when I have like a thing where I'll do like a meet and greet with kids and they'll ask me questions and stuff, and I always sometimes get asked about for advice. And I said, number one thing, if you're a musician, is diversify. I know it's a kind of a boring, wonky answer, but for me, it's proved true because when, the inevitable valleys come after the peaks, um, the diversification helps even things out. So it's just like investing. So I build guitars. I have a guitar company, Mr. Scary Guitars. I have two shops. I have people work for me. Um, I play lots of music in this studio and other places for other people. I write songs for other people. I do solos. I play guitar on different record companies, albums for other artists. I do a lot of outside work like that, and just dabble in everything, like equipment, for instance. Like, so I'm very heavily involved in the companies that I endorse in designing and developing and marketing gear. Whether it's ESP or an amp company or a pedal company or a string company or you name it. Um, it's a source of income, but it's also a creative act, endeavor, and much like music.
Yeah.
And I'm a tone freak, and I'm as far as guitar sounds, I'm always learning, and all my friends, it's all we talk about is gear, every
Right.
day. And it's so fun. It makes my job so fun because it's like a hobby, that I'm passionate about. I do it for no money.
Hmm.
And I try to share that with my fans, and a lot of my fans are guitar fans that are interested in my tone questing, I like to call it. And so I share that with them. And so one thing I have, for instance, just to cite an example, is I work with Dave Zabatos for this company called Legendary Tones, and they make this module. And I'm actually
Right.
going to show you. I have it sitting right here. Interestingly, um, these modules, which a lot of times people come up with ideas, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Everybody's got an idea to
Yeah.
get rich quick scheme. But we came up with these Mr. Scary modules. They're
That's so
what
cool.
they do. They plug into your tube amp in the
Uh-huh.
V section, which is the second preamp socket, and it replaces that tube. And that tube is here, and then it gives you an additional tube which you can dial in. That's got a switch for bass enhancement. And there's other things that you can do with it.
Right.
Anyways, there's many versions of these, but they work on a lot of different amps. I will tell you that I've never been involved in anything that's been so effective that I can get behind it. People love so much across the board. A lot of my pro friends are using these,
Right.
and I use them in everything. It's not a gimmick. I mean, you know, it's $150, $200. I don't care. I would buy it if I needed it.
Uh-huh.
It's not getting them free or making money off them. It's because
Yeah.
it does a thing that I can't do without now. It's so great. It's the thing that makes my amps, which are, I'm an amp guy more than a guitar guy, which makes my amps do what I need them to do for me to get my ideas across from my brain to my fingers to your ears and to your heart. That thing. And so I get great satisfaction in that, and I hear people come back to me, pro guys that I respect, like, man, I love this thing. It's never coming out of my amp. Get that.
Amazing.
I've never heard anybody go, I don't like that thing you invented.
All right. So looking back, is Lynch Mob's story a history of riffs built on glory or a battlefield littered with scars and broken strings? Your
Broken
history.
things. That's dude, that's a lyric right there for a new song. I love that. That's
Yeah, it
beautiful.
is, isn't it? Yeah, it's good.
Lyrical.
So,
So
yeah.
I don't know, to be honest, if I understand what the question means.
So would you say like the time at Lynch Mob, your band Lynch Mob? I mean, it's been ups and downs, hasn't there? Would you say like it's been the career of Lynch Mob has been a battlefield, like fighting to get seen, fighting to get recognized, or would you say it's been just enjoyment and broken strings and fun the time of Lynch Mob,
Hmm.
apart from obviously the name change issue, which we won't go into.
Yeah, well, obviously both. For I think every band is both. It's
Yeah,
it's joy. I mean, the joy is when you achieve the successes with your band and the camaraderie and the band of brothers together and share that together. Um, I always thought that doing something like that alone would be a vacuous achievement, that would hold no joy because there's nothing to reflect off of. There's nothing means anything unless you have something to compare it to. Otherwise, it's happening in a void and a vacuum. And I don't understand the singularity of sense of fame where people just the for instance, like in the Dokken days, Don tried to strike out on his own and leave us in the dust. uh, one for money and two for glory. And I thought that sounds like a very lonely thing. Like I've never wanted to be like that guitar player, even if I could be, which I can. I'm not technically capable of being that, but like a guitar player, not saying these names, but this in this world of like a a solo guitarist or solo artist of any sort, where you're just sort of on your own on a pedestal and insulated from everyone else. Your band is higher, they're off there, they're not supposed to talk to you. You ride in your own bus, your jet, and it's just all about you. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the appeal of that. That sounds like hell.
Yeah.
Because I know when we're traveling around, we're having the funnest time. We're just
Yeah.
like we're just goofing from A to Z the
Hmm.
whole time, even on stage. We love each other. We're just, and then we go out and we kick ass, and we love each other's company. And it's just a lot of fun, and it just makes the journey so fun. It's the whole point. And so those are my friends. My band has always been my friend since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Been sort of recluse and just sit in my room and play guitar and didn't go out and socialize and do other sports and things. I was either up in the mountains by myself or I was in my room playing guitar. And the only way I had friends was to have a band.
Hmm.
And still true today at 71 years old.
80s and 90s or early 90s. It was rock and roll, debauchery, and it was madness. Yeah. How did you cope with that, and how have you survived to still be
Well,
going so strong?
one Tuesday, it was, and I mean, things happened, dude, and it got out of control. It wasn't just me. I don't know what you've heard, but and it was just stuff, and they go, it's I go, what's that? They go, oh, just try it. It's a cocaine. It smell. What's it for? I go, it just smells really good. So it's just smell it, sniff it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't like it. I just like the way it smelled.
Right.
Yeah. And then all this shit happened, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah. But you're still here
Uh,
rocking.
you felt it was part of, it was compulsory. It was almost part of the job description. Like you work on Wall Street, you wear a Brooks Brothers suit, and you got to have a briefcase and a BMW, and that's kind of like what it was like for me, but except it was like cocaine and debauchery, as you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you glad?
That's a very British word, debauchery. We don't use that
It's a
much.
great word, isn't it? It's a great word. Debauchery. All right. So then, obviously, I could guess the answer to this question. Are you glad then that you started back in the scene rather than today's crazy circus of algorithms and TikTok riffs?
Yeah, I'd probably be lost in today's world trying to make any sense of it. Obviously, it was much simpler. I mean, any old person says that about
Yeah.
versus then. Things are always getting more complicated, and complex. But um, uh, I have no idea. I mean, I think trying to figure things out in the rearview mirror is just a fool's errand because why? I mean, I attribute my happiness partly due to the fact that I do not look back, um, especially with regret, and I'm not looking for answers in the rearview mirror. There's no figuring it out. I'm just very happy to be alive and very happy to be doing what I'm doing and have a lot of things I want to do because I have this soundtrack that's been in my head since I was a kid and I keep chasing it. It's like chasing this dragon.
Right.
And I never achieved this musical nirvana that it's either the solo and I'm literally be like walking around or doing something or driving or whatever I'm doing. And this thing will hit me. And this happened all my life. And I'm sure it happens to lots of musicians where it's this whole thing, you know, this thing, this is like the world's greatest solo that I'm literally like in tears with goosebumps, you know, and I'm like, how can I capture this, And I've made attempts at, trying to tape things and recreate them and so I can remember them. It never works. But I know that's there out, you know, in this around me somewhere or inside or wherever it's coming from outside, but never achieved that, and I feel if I could ever achieve that, I would write something or play something that mattered, it'd be historically significant and not from an ego standpoint, just at a standpoint of making people happy and making it like there was a point to this existence, um, other than making mediocre music.
Absolutely. And do you
I mean,
think in the future times, years to come, what would you like to be remembered for?
um, I'd like to be remembered for inventing that thing where when you're dead, all your friends gather around you at the graveyard and stand around and bring you back to life. I want to be that guy. No,
Cool.
we remembered for I think just I would hope that I would be remembered for being a good father, a good husband, and being a good friend and being honest.
Cool.
Possible in my life,
Cool.
with music or otherwise. That's not
So
all you for.
if there was like a song about your personality, like a made up song, what would the title of the song be?
Funny as fuck, dude. That's all I got to say right now. I'm a funny motherfucker. Now, my wife would not agree with that. My wife doesn't think I'm funny at all. Literally, I mean, I just crack myself up all day, but she doesn't even, she's still looking at her book, reading her book, or interrupts me somewhere, walks in another room. I'm like, I'm funny. What the fuck is? But because I have such a, she's a tough audience. Uh, what I have found a way to make her laugh. I hurt myself.
Right.
So if I trip and fall, like wearing flip flops, going upstairs backwards or something, carrying a sofa, she'll be in tears.
Right.
Literally, anything that causes me pain makes her very happy. Uh, but I'm going to say this. I'm not saying this out of bragging or anything, although I know you're going to be impressed. But um, I have a gig. I accepted this gig at this a comedy. There's a comedy chain in the United States called Funny Bones,
Cool. Okay.
and there's a location in St. Louis, and they wanted me to perform there, not musically.
Right.
And I had to think about that. I go, well, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not a comedian. And but I thought about it. I go, you know what? For some reason, I'm really captivated by this opportunity, and I don't want to. I feel like it's a crazy challenge, and maybe I could pull it off.
You should do it.
Not
Yeah.
stand because that's a whole other thing. I'm not that, but I can do it in a conversational way,
Mhm.
And also, I'm going to bring a guitar and a little amp, but I
Right.
got the band where it's going to be part of the joke and the routine. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all time
That,
music.
that sounds amazing. That should be like advertised everywhere. And yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds good.
Well, a lot of my guitar playing has been uh, 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 unintentionally funny,
Right.
right?
Okay.
I mean, I don't care if they're laughing for the wrong reason, they're still laughing.
All right.
God,
Okay, so what about what's the plans for your release day? Have you got anything set up, anything planned? You can do like a live stream of each song or something like that
yeah,
with a bit of
well,
comedy thrown in.
which record are you talking about? You're talking about Dancing with the Devil?
Talk about dancing with the devil, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have we have a thing planned. It's a cabal with Satan.
Right.
We
Okay.
and so it'll be orgies and
Oh,
incense,
sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. That's the average
sacrifice.
day in my average night in my town. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another Tuesday night.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lynch
No,
Mob.
that sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, it's being released the day after Thanksgiving, which is not a holiday around the world, but
No.
shouldn't be a holiday here either. But whatever. And,
Is Thanksgiving, is
um,
that not when you won the Civil War or something? Is that right? I don't know. I can't remember. What's Thanksgiving to get back again?
Thanksgiving is thank you, Indigenous people, for giving us your whole country.
That's
Half of
it. That's
making
it. Yeah.
a nice turkey dinner.
That's
Fuck,
right. Yeah. I remember
fucking
now.
genocide your ass. Um, yeah, uh, ridiculous. So Yeah, so the day after that is Black Friday, they call it.
Oh yeah, we have that here now. Everything's Americanized in the UK.
Yeah, right, right. Well, it's not just for black people. I mean, white people can buy the record too. Mexicans. We're not, even though I'm called Lynch Mob, I'm not racist.
It's called
Uh,
humor. Yeah, man. I know, I know. I was like, when you announced you were going to change the band's name, I was like, really? I'm so glad you didn't do that, man. That would have been given in to the liberal elite. I'm so glad you never did that. That's so cool.
yeah. Well, Lynch Mob is bad enough, but it's obviously negative connotations, which I don't feel great about. But um, it's Lynch Mob is way better than the name that we were gonna be called before that.
What was that?
I can't say it on TV.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's
So
bad,
if you,
dude. It's bad. I don't know what the bass player was thinking when he came up with it.
right,
I was
okay.
against it.
Right, okay.
But let's just say there's a derogatory term used for black people that you cannot say, followed by a word that starts with K that is eliminating those people. And
Right,
that's
okay.
what our bass player wanted to call the band.
Right.
I'm like, are you kidding? Did you just say that? He goes, well, it's just an idea. We're riffing. We're coming up with ideas. I go, and you said that? It was crazy, dude. I couldn't even believe he said it.
All right, man. Well, I want to say it's been an absolute pleasure. The meeting's nearly finished now on here. Do you have anything to say to the world
I'm sorry.
about
I'm sorry.
about Dancing with the Devil, your
Oh,
last
about that.
album?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'd like to apologize for the record. Uh, I did my best. Um, I think half the songs are really good.
yeah.
I love
Brilliant.
Machine Bone and Golden Earring or whatever the hell it's called. Golden something. Golden Shower. I forget. Golden something. And a Sea of Stones.
Yeah,
I love that one. There's
cool.
one other one in there. There's a couple others in there. I love half the record.
That's good. That's good, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Fantastic. Well, hopefully you might even get over to Europe on a tour then, yeah? Yeah, I know, I know.
Little thing called First Class. Hello. Waldorf Astoria. Hello.
Fair enough. Fair
Press
enough.
hello.
All right.
Wembley Stadium. Hello.
It's absolutely Wembley
I'm
Stadium,
not going
Scotland.
to be driving myself around in an old drafty van with no heater with
No,
six guys through Europe in the winter,
no.
staying at a campground full of gypsies to play for no money at a dirty little club uh, with all guys dressed in Saxon jackets that hate us.